polls, the governing Jamaica Labour Party, the JLP, has a 4 percentage point lead over the opposition People's National Party, the PNP, heading into the February 26 local government elections in 2 weeks. That's according to the latest nationwide Blue Dot polls, powered by Total Tools. The poll has a margin of error of plus or minus 2.25%. Ricardo Brooks has the first of our two reports.
It's Advantage JLP. The nationwide Blue Dot poll asked 1,878 Jamaicans who they would vote for in the upcoming local elections. 30% chose the JLP. 26% say the PNP would get their vote. That 4 percentage point lead is outside the margin of error. 1% of voters say a candidate from another political party would get their vote. Among registered voters who are likely to vote on February 26, 47% say they will choose the JLP, while 43% say they're going with the PNP. 10% of likely voters told the pollsters they're still unsure who they will choose on election day. The JLP leads the PNP in 7 parishes across the country. The PNP leads in 4. 2 are tied. The governing party has its most commanding lead in St. Anne, where nearly 70% of registered voters say they're voting JLP on election day. That's compared to 28% in the Garden Parish who say they're voting PNP. 3% are unsure. The JLP is also strong in St. Elizabeth, where 60% of voters say they will choose a Labour Party councillor. 31% are going with the PNP. 8% are sure. The JLP also appears dominant in Westmoreland, where nearly 60% of voters say they're voting Labour. 33% are voting PNP. 5% of voters in Westmoreland are unsure. In Clarendon, the JLP is ahead, 53% to the PNP's 36%. 9% of voters say they're unsure. The JLP is also leading in St. Catherine. They have 50% support to the PNP's 34%. 14% of likely voters in St. Catherine are unsure who they'll vote for. Victory also appears imminent for the JLP in the East. It leads the PNP 52% to 38% in St. Thomas and 44% to 40% in Portland. 13% of voters in Portland are unsure, while 10% of voters in St. Thomas are also unsure. But it's not all good news for the JLP. The party appears on track to suffer a 9 percentage point defeat in Kingston and St. Andrew. The PNP leads across Kingston and St. Andrew 49% to the JLP's 40%. 11% of voters in Kingston and St. Andrew are unsure. The PNP also seems set to decimate the JLP in Manchester, where they lead 60% to the JLP's 35%. 6% of voters in Manchester say they're unsure who they'll vote for. The PNP also seems set to take control of the Trelawney Municipal Corporation, where they lead the JLP 58% to 31%. 12% of voters in that parish are unsure who'll get their vote. And in St. Mary, the PNP may send Richard Creary packing, as it leads 57% to the JLP's 35%. 7% of voters there are unsure. St. James is a dead heat, with both parties registering 42% support from voters. The undecided 12% in that parish will make all the difference. And finally, in Hanover, the parties are in a tie at 45%. 10% of voters are unsure. Ricardo Brooks for Nationwide News.
And there is a gender gap in expressed voter intentions, with women leaning more heavily to Prime Minister Andrew Holness's Labour Party. The JLP leads the PNP across most age groups among women and in at least 3 income brackets. Mahira Stewart has that story.
The bases of both major political parties appear highly motivated to vote on February 26. 93% of JLP supporters say they will turn up to vote in the polls. An identical number of PNP supporters say they'll be going out on election day. Interestingly, 3% of PNP supporters say they will vote for the JLP. That's compared to 2% of JLP supporters who who say they will vote for the PNP. Voters earning less than $50,000 monthly are slightly in favor of the PNP, preferring the party 46% to 43% for the JLP. Those earning between $50,000 and $80,000 a month break heavily for the governing JLP, 53% to 41% for the PNP. 6% of voters in this cohort are undecided. Voters earning $80,000 to $120,000 monthly also favor the JLP by 10 percentage points, 48% to 38% for the PNP. 11% of voters in that income bracket are undecided. The PNP holds a razor-thin lead of 1 percentage point among voters earning between $120,000 and $180,000 per month, 45% to 44% for the JLP. 11% of voters in that income bracket are also undecided. The opposition PNP also leads among voters earning $180,000 to $250,000 monthly, 44% to 38% for the JLP. 17% of voters in this bracket are unsure. The JLP has an 8 percentage point lead among Jamaicans earning more than $250,000 monthly, leading the PNP 48% to 40%. 12% are unsure. The JLP seems set to carry women by 8 percentage points over the PNP, with 48% of women saying they'll vote Labour, while 40% say they'll vote PNP. 11% of women are unsure. There's a tie between both parties where men are concerned, both winning 45% support. 9% of men are unsure who they'll vote for. The JLP leads the PNP heavily among voters 25 to 34, 49% to 38%. The governing party is also ahead with voters 35 to 44, leading the PNP 50% to 42%. The JLP leads by 9 percentage points among voters 55 to 64, getting 49% support compared to the PNP's 40%. There's a tie between both parties among voters 45 to 54 at 47%. There's also a tie among voters 18 to 24-year-olds, with both parties picking up 43%. The only age cohort where the PNP leads outright is among voters 65 years and older, where the party has a 12 percentage point lead, 50% to just 38% for the JLP. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the General Secretary of the PNP, Dr. Dayton Campbell, says the party has completed polls in 9 of the 14 divisions in the parish of Westmoreland. According to Dr. Campbell, the polls were conducted by the Don Anderson-led Market Research Services Limited. He says of those 9 completed divisions, the PNP is leading in 7. The PNP has not shared those poll numbers with the media. And of course, we'll have more on the latest nationwide Blue Dot polls inside our cover story at 5:35.